Hi friends, it's me, Floppy McFlop, the Flopper, Taylor, and welcome back to my podcast. Is It Single Girl Safe is the show where I review products, services, and experiences that makes living alone as a single girl so much difficult or so much easier. Season 5, as you could tell, is on a pretty transitional path. Yeah, we're transitioning. We are like almost 4 weeks late. Don't worry, this time will be made up for. But happy to see you guys after the longest hiatus. As I started off with, I'm flopping beyond boots, beyond measurements on how much one person could flop. So, let's kick it right off the gate. So today I'm going to be talking about processing shame. This season is going to be different in the sense of I really don't have any report cards. I'm going through the worst flop era of my life. I have some people close to me in my life, but sometimes problems can be repetitive, so I kind of don't want to nag it per se, but I do want to expand from this and ultimately get out of this. Like, I'm having the worst time period, and not everything is up, but not everything is down, and I'm really trying to find a community that loves me in all capes of me: happy, sad, talented, not talented. In the in-between phases of everything has been really difficult for me, and I have been flopping beyond means is how I could put it, but it's kind of, I'm trying to expand that sentence to get you into where I actually am in life, and hopefully this could help. So let's get into it. Today I'm going to be talking about period. Okay, so today I'm going to be talking about processing shame. I'm going to be talking about the processing of shame in self and in relations. So to start off, we all know what shame is. We all know how it feels. The most common usage and time period that we really feel it is as a child, you're shamed for not doing something right. And that's really humans' method of discipline in all senses. Rather, we're aware of it as an adult or not. Whenever somebody or something doesn't fit an idea that you place upon it, naturally you're going to shame it, i.e. talk shit about it. And the effects that could have really depends on the closeness that the person or thing has to that identity that is being shamed, and how much it really affects them, / how much they actually experience that in their full life as well. And so getting into me, I process shame really difficult. It's really hard for me to process shame. And on top of that, I unconsciously give it to myself a lot too. Because as a person who's had an abusive mother, not just discipline-wise, but just your interests and yourself, nothing's ever good enough, and nothing's ever good. She was always finding her personal style too. That's also another thing. She was always finding her personal aims, games, and everything in between, and my not matching up as the other female in the house was, I say other female in the house like I was an adult, as a child female in the house, it really didn't match up. We really didn't match up. She was more like tomboy girly in some senses, and if I could be a hyper feminine as a child, I 100% would have, like, most definitely. And yeah, I feel like this conversation is going everywhere. A part of me kind of feels like I don't even know what to say other than, yeah, let's talk about processing shame. Like, I process shame really difficult. I think it's because the method of shame that was placed upon me as a child was physical. I think talking shit about me, I think even yelling at me or all types of things go over my head. I don't know, call it what you fucking want, but I'm out of touch with some type of social things. Like, I really tone really well. So if your tone is connected to what you're saying, then okay. If your tone is different than what you're saying, I'm more likely to pick up on the tone than what I am on what you're saying. And so on God, you could say fucking anything to me as a child, as an adult, and I won't know. I won't register it. Like, it's really, your business is your business. Once I see that the tone is fucked up, girl, that got nothing to do with me. I'm out of there. Keep it to yourself. That's projection, and you could keep it to yourself. So it's like, when it comes to being shamed verbally, it's really hard for that shit to actually get across to me, because it's like, the moment I see a not it tone, I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm not registering this. Why would I listen to the words that are coming out of your mouth? Your tone is fucked up. Your subconscious all over the place. And so it's really kind of hard to verbally shame me and for that shit to stick. When my mom got me, though, is she beat my ass, bro. I'm talking about full fist bar fight with a goddamn child over things that you would discipline a child for, or just having different opinions. It's like, as a child, yeah, making the mistake of overrunning the tub, or not doing the chores on time, or not doing this when she says, blah, blah, blah. Like, little things that you would either yell at a child for, or just like give them a little smack or something. She went fucking berserk on. It was insane. And growing up into a teenager where, you start to develop your own personal interests, your own personal style, and it being drastically different than what she enjoyed, made my life a living fucking hell. I could get beat for staring at the wall. I could get beat for wanting to wear this and not this. I could get yanked for wanting my hair like this and not like that. Like, it's just like that vulnerability, somebody, because, she's my mom. She grew up with you this whole time. Like, as someone who would kind of know what you would like essentially being seen but being rejected, and then being harmed for what they see within you as a child, like, really fucked with my brain, and it still runs through me to this day. Like, I'm most definitely in a huge transition time. I feel like I'm getting access to my artistry again, going through a lot of physical abuse and not being able to fully express the way that I could / want to express. Like, really fucked with the brains for a bit, and not just the brains but the bodies. Like, my art form is movement based, to where it's like my body being taken advantage of for so long. My first couple years outside of the household just made me a really bitter person, to where I wasn't taking care of my own body and just letting things continue to happen. But it's also supposed to be this vessel that I use to channel my greater artistry. Like, it has been a really, 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 really difficult process for me. I need to fucking put this. I'm not editing this episode because one, it's late. It's on Don't Disturb already, so why does it keep on doing that to me? Okay. I'm sorry, I keep getting so many notifications on my watch. It's taking my brain. This is like a really vulnerable topic for me, but it needs to be had because like overall I refuse to keep shaming myself. It's like going through all of these level of shame as a child kind of makes you shame yourself once you're outside of that childhood one. So that's how we're feeling shame in ourselves. Let's process shame in relations. We talked about it in the household, but friendship wise too, you know, in this society where it's really hard to find your own, when it's really hard to find community altogether, you're more likely to have friends online than you are in person outside of school. Really fucking sucks. So let's start there. Two, it's hard kind of being this eccentric person because although it is really nice to be in this process of getting reconnected to who I am and myself and all of these things, I'm a really, really, really high energy. And it's like, it kind of sucks sometimes because it's like, yeah, of course, like I read the room and I match the vibe. But sometimes the vibe could be so low to where I'm like, damn, every problem got a solution. Like sometimes I just hit they got a solution. I understand being, for like a little bit, but like the way that's kind of like a baseline, you know, this part isn't gonna be too specific. I put this hoe on Don't Disturb and I put it on theater mode and it keeps fucking beeping on me. How do I turn it off? How do I get this to stop? I'm sorry, I'm not editing this episode either. I'm trying to fucking record an episode and I have a little time, like I have a little brain cell. And so having this shit fucking buzz on my hand every 5 seconds is driving me insane. Talk about overstimulated. Okay, I just have to take a second for myself. Okay. Don't worry. I have an episode about processing negative emotions and that hoe is going to drop within this season as well because I got a lot of I got a lot of negative emotions and they're all getting processed. They're not being carried into this next chapter that is spending her time brewing. So as it brews, let's continue. Yeah, so it's like just like I'm already coming from the wound of, you know, kind of like a parental figure not liking you, like even outside of the abuse shit, but like a parental figure really not fucking with you and then not even pretending either to where it's like, okay, like that's chill and everything. It just kind of gives you like this baseline feeling of like everybody hates you and you don't fit in and everything hurts. And it's like as an Aquarius, like you feel isolated to a certain extent, but I'm an Aquarius, Aries, Leo, and so with some heavy social signs guiding my path, like yeah, there's some days where I'm like, oh, I don't fit in, blah, blah, blah. But I can't say that I don't think that there's nothing for me. I should have no friends that are like close to me to a certain extent and like all of these things. And just like, I deserve to be with people that talk poorly about themselves and to themselves, or they only talk highly about themselves and speak poorly about everybody else. However, that person's ego decides to expand within them. Like, I don't deserve to feel like shit to have a friendship, and I do not deserve to not have any friendship because of how high of an energy I am. I just, I don't think that's the case. And I'm going through a time period where it's feeling like I'm not fitting in anywhere within my community. Naturally, whenever something doesn't match up or when something isn't right, we shame it. And so it's natural that I'm almost kind of shaming myself for not having a best friend group right now. But I personally don't think it should, like, I should feel shame. I should feel my transition. And I want to stop being able to shame myself. That's why, this episode exists, like processing shame, because it's like, it's something so external from us that registers within our subconscious so deeply to where it's just like, enough is enough, bro. Like, I've been seen by a lot. I've been hated by a lot. I've been liked by a lot. There's just so much finicky emotions within humans to where it's like, how could I feel shame from rather it's a mistake that I made or just simply being different than a pack? Like, that shit ends with this. I'm going to say with this season. That shit ends with this season because it reveals itself in so many different ways. Like, a lot of emotions that's going to be talked about throughout the show of this season. Like, this one common emotion, I feel like it's going to be making her reappearance. But that's why it's the first episode of this season. Because let's kick it off on the sense of, why would I feel shame for feeling, looking, wanting different? Why would I feel shame even if it's an honest mistake? Like, every problem has a solution. If it can be corrected, it can. If it can't be corrected, then of course you should feel minor shame. But great shame is how we get into shit like cancel culture and blah blah blah. There are some people that should be canceled. The people who do bad shit, they process the shame and they continue to do bad shit because in actuality they don't really actually give a fuck. And so whereas they should be canceled, they probably would never be canceled because they don't give a fuck. You see where I'm getting to, where it's like, why would I feel shame for not being my best? I'm doing my best for where I am on this day, or I'm doing my best for where I am at this month. And then sometimes it's not always the best, like, especially with somebody going through a process of still getting access to their artistry and to their body. Like, I feel like every month, like, a different, like, a new cup full is being poured into this picture. I'm getting reconnected with myself, my happiness, my talent, day by day by day, and I'm really happy and I'm really excited for it. But I want to stop feeling shame for not already being there, and I want to stop feeling shame for even the parts that are there and that do touch, they're not good enough for XYZ. That shit doesn't exist. It's outside projection that I'm letting into my subconscious, and I can no longer do that any longer. So, yeah, this was me processing shame, and I hope this episode helped you a lot. I hope you're able to, like, kind of take some things from it. Even my meltdown, like, how we could fix a problem and then take a break for ourselves, or even just, like, figure out where that shame is coming from, because I know myself. Like, if you want to talk shit about me or to my face around everybody, you want to be a vicious, nasty person, like, that shit, like, I do not process words, I only process tone, and tone comes from the subconscious, and so, like, I literally, no matter what your words are saying, I only process that tummy, and once I see that tummy got its little intentions, bitch, I don't give a fuck what you're saying, like, I do not give a fuck, and I will only let it go so far before I pop the fuck off on it, and so I know myself to where it's like I wouldn't have so much shame on me as an adult if it was just verbal as a child. So I'm literally having to process how far something has happened to me to see how much I let happen to me now in my adulthood, and even how I talk to myself, because again, when like this is something, when something isn't right or just something doesn't fit in, like shame is something that we naturally do as people just to make the order kind of go right and flow frequencies back into line and everything, and like keep a moral ground and all of those things, to where it's like, fuck, I lost my train of thought. To where it's like there's sometimes we're unconsciously shaming another person. The person may consciously register the shame, but the person given the shame may be unconsciously doing it. And it happens. It's literally like, it's so wired within humans to where it's like, this season forward, that shit is not allowed to process in my subconscious. Like, rather it's intentionally or unintentionally being projected onto me, that shit not being registered. It can't be registered. It's been registered for too long, and the only thing that comes out of it is either somebody else feeling better, or somebody else granting away, or even outside of somebody else, it just always results in me feeling worse, me feeling lower. Because it's like, okay, you're gonna feel that shame, you can make the changes, at the end of the day, you're still here. You can't shame yourself to death, you can't shame yourself into oblivion, because even if you try, you're still here, and you still have to face those people, that community that may be so tight right in front of you. You have to be able to be just as tight with yourself in the face of that. And that shit comes from blocking out that shame. Whatever may be projected on intentionally or unintentionally, that shit gotta be blocked. So this was me talking about it, kind of figuring out, like, you know, like what's going on in my flop era. I'm flopping so hard, and I'm feeling a lot of negative emotions. I went through a friendship death this year, and not like the death of a friend, but like I no longer have a friend group, like a friendship death, like a Bleach and Tone, like a friendship death. Like, I no longer have like that friend group that I had, and I didn't re-up on that hoe either, because instead of, you know, just kind of bouncing from people to people, like, I really wanted to take time and heal and see, why am I so deeply affected by the way another person was acting, to where, bitch, I got some emotions to let out this whole season. So be prepared. Be prepared. Yeah, that's everything. This hoe is gonna be unedited. I'm 3 weeks behind, and honestly, I'm releasing everything as is. I want to be as authentic as possible. I want this to help as much as possible. Sometimes advice isn't like a clear report card or a clear 1, 2, 3. Like, sometimes it literally is just watching me go through it on camera. So thanks for watching. See you next week. Mwah.